Today, our board president will update us on the Tenaci rebuild project, the 2023 budget, and a little more trash talk. It's coming right now, so stay tuned. Welcome to the Tellico Village Quarterly POA Board Update. I'm your host, Carla Johnson, here with Board President Marty Inkrott, and today we're going to talk about timely village topics. Welcome, Marty, and thank you for joining us again on Tellico Village Network.
My pleasure, Carla.
We've just completed the fourth quarter, which every year has a big impact on the village, and 2022, of course, was no exception. The board election results are in, and the budget for next year was reviewed and approved. And we'll talk a little bit later about changes to both the budget process and the results. While this board update includes mostly highlights, it's easy to find more information. If you're watching on YouTube, you can find click-to-follow links in the description of this video. Also, remember, all board meetings are available for viewing on our YouTube channel. Find out how at tellicovillagenetwork.com. So Marty, first, let's get a quick update on the Tenaci clubhouse. We talked last quarter about the devastating fire and the rebuild committee that was formed. What can you tell us about the progress being made?
So the current status is we're working with the insurance company on replacement costs and primarily on the foundation right now. So the foundation checked out as though it's good to go and it's structurally sound, but the problem is builders won't warrant their work on a structure or on a foundation that's 35 years old. So we're still working through that with the insurance company. Regarding golf operations, the cart barn is installed and it's functional. And now we're looking at the temporary clubhouse. We ran into a little snag there. Last time we talked about using the double wide that's at Public Works. Well, found out that we cannot use that because it's full of mold. So we have to get rid of it. So then we went and we were working with Clayton Homes to get a structure, and that's kind of falling apart as well because what we thought we were going to get and what we're actually going to get through that is not the same. So we're kind of back to square one, looking at other double wides and seeing what we can do for a temporary clubhouse.
Okay.
We're also looking at getting a food truck, so we have some food and some drinks on the turn and to service the golfers.
Okay, will there be a place for the golfers to be able to sit and enjoy food and beverage from
Yeah,
that?
we're hoping that we have enough room in the double wide, especially during inclement weather.
Okay,
Yeah.
Great. Now you mentioned before that the committee was looking for some community feedback on that rebuild project. Is that still going on?
Yes, where we're at with that, the rebuild committee has been meeting and we're working on site plans, and we seem to be narrowing down on the one structure now, because moving golf operations to a separate location is going to be more expensive and a little bit tougher operationally to handle. So we do have some site plans that we're getting ready to communicate to the public, and so they can see where we're at. And then they can also provide feedback at the website and on the Tellico Village app.
Okay, great. So, and to do that on the website, you go to the news tab, select Tenaci updates, and there you'll find not only the submission form for feedback, but information updates about the rebuild process. So thank you very much for that. And do you know how long that submission form will be open, that people can continue to provide feedback?
Well, we're planning to just leave it open throughout the whole process.
Throughout the process, great.
Yes.
So people can still do that, perfect. All right, so last time we talked a little trash, and that's trash pickup. The board has terminated the contract with Republic and is working toward a new provider for that service. How's progress?
There has been question about should I pay my bill for January, and the answer to that is yes, because we are working on finalizing a contract with one of the service providers, but that isn't done yet. So it's likely we're going to have Republic into February. So they have agreed that they'll continue service until we get a replacement. So that's where we're at.
Okay.
The challenge is going to be with the new service, pretty much all of them anymore are not offering recycle pickup. That'll be going away. And we may have centralized sites where people can bring their recycles to. But there again, we got to look at what the cost is going to be and whether that's something that we want to do. Right now, we have recycle services at the Public Works facility, and that they're taking cardboard and e-cycle, so any electronic type devices, and they're also taking aluminum cans. And the proceeds from the sale of those aluminum cans go to the garden club. So we'll continue to do that at the very least.
Okay, any thought of just expanding that center, or?
Well, we may, but the problem is that's going to come at an incremental cost to the village. So we've got to decide whether we want to pay that incremental cost.
Okay, all right, great. When can we expect an update on that, you think?
Probably relatively soon. I would say the December board meeting.
Okay.
We should have more information.
Great. Something the POA staff and the board have been working on for a while is the much anticipated repair of Chota Road. While that project has experienced some delays, can you update us on the project now and when it's scheduled to be completed?
Yeah, so it was going to start the 1st of November, and we decided to delay it because there was no temporary traffic light at North Chota, and we thought that it might be a safety issue. Our new CEO and Clayton got with TDOT, and they agreed to put a temporary light up. So now it's starting early December, and it'll take 4 to 6 weeks. You know, obviously the weather has a lot to do with that, but that's the plan.
Okay, great. So we're looking forward to this being a long-term solution for this busy section of road. And in the short term, drivers and businesses will have to put up with a little bit of inconvenience, but a big concern of the Chota road closure is safety. So the Tellico Village Fire Department is located just past the construction area for repairs, and we caught up with Tellico Village Volunteer Fire Department Chief Jerry Doherty for his insight.
One of our main concerns was the volume of traffic on Chota Road with the closure, and the one was the 10,000 gallon of tanker truck delivering gasoline to the station. We reached out to Marathon and advised them of the closure. They were not aware of it, so they have altered their plans to deliver the fuel early in the morning at 2 o'clock in the morning. So that was one thing we did. And then on December 2nd, right after the road was physically closed, we had a physical test of the system. We had a fire alarm right across on Chunalati Way. So we responded as would be a normal call. We had some people go to the POA facility and get engine 123. Other people responded from this station and ran Chota Road all the way out to the north, down 444 over to Chunalati Way. I went through the church parking lot and was there and able to give advance warning that it was nothing showing at that time. But we were able to respond. It adds a couple minutes of our response time, but we think we have it worked out. On Sunday, this past Sunday, we did a anticipation. We had all of our vehicles basically out on the road in case, with the high volume of church traffic going through the intersections, we would have been ready with the vehicles on the road. But nothing happened. That's great. The fire department was interacting with Clayton and Chet as far as anticipation of how we could respond with the closure. The POA reached out to us and offered the Public Works facility that we could store one of our vehicles up there. And then we were strongly supporting and requesting that a temporary traffic signal be installed.
The Pickleplex ribbon cutting was held on November 2nd. Marty, as a pickleball player yourself and a board member, tell us about that event and what impact it has had on the village as a whole and the pickleball community in particular.
So like you said, the grand opening was on November 2nd. We had a great turnout. They were saying probably around 500 people. We had hot dogs and beer and wine, so it was a really good event. It's very exciting for pickleball players and for the community. The popularity of pickleball, it's a great draw for the community, and it's going to enable us to be able to play in inclement weather and in the heat of the summer.
When they first started talking about building it, they talked about the ability to hold events there because of the cover. Is that still something that the pickleball club is talking about?
Well, I think, you mean other than pickleball?
Well, no, pickleball like tournaments and things like that.
Yes, they're definitely looking at that.
Okay.
And this will be a big draw because of the covered courts.
Right, that facility is so nice. It's huge. I didn't expect it to be that big.
It is, and if you see it, what's missing yet is the image on the front. So there's going to be a big Teleco Village Pickleplex image with the Teleco Village insignia on it.
Oh, that's
So
great.
that'll be really nice when that gets done.
That's a great asset for our recreation department and for our players. So
It's a great result of cooperation between the POA, the Pickleball Club, and Timeless Teleco.
that's great. Hopefully we'll have more of those coming soon.
Yes.
So the board election was held recently, and the results have been announced for the 2023 POA board. Congratulations on your re-election.
Well, thank you.
And please give us an update on the remaining open seats and the process for installing new members.
As you know, there's 7 positions on the board. 3 of them were up for election this year. Steve Schneider and I both re-ran, and we both made it back on. Sue English Kovar decided not to rerun. So John Orr, who's currently on the Finance Committee, will be taking her spot. The new members will be installed in the December POA board meeting. And then we'll have a special meeting early January, I believe January 3rd, to elect the officers of the board and to make committee assignments.
Okay, great. So a hot topic this quarter was the budget and changes concerning the process. Can you tell our viewers about these changes and why the board chose this new path?
Really, the only process change that we had this year is that we had 2 workshops that were closed initially that were added before the FAC review, the Finance Advisory Committee review. And that was done primarily because, as you know, we have a new CEO, Chet Pillsbury, and a new CFO, Mickey White. So it was basically to get them adapted to the new process, get them used to the numbers that the different departments were presenting, and then asking questions, and just, it was kind of a training session for them. But it worked out really well because we were able to get through the budget in a lot of detail and then be ready for the Finance Advisory Committee review.
Okay, that's great. So when the POA staff members prepare their budgets and present them to the Finance Advisory Committee, they do so with some guidance from the board. What guidance did you give them this year?
Well, the primary guidance that we gave them was, look, 2023, there's a lot of questions as to what's going on, you know, with the recession and inflation and just the cost of everything going up. So we said we need to put together a budget where we only have absolute needs in it. Everybody had to basically go back and scrub their capital plans and be able to defend that those are the items that we really needed to be done.
Even hotter topic was the decision to increase monthly assessments by $14 per month. Inflation has affected all of our own household finances, and the POA budget is not exempt from its impact, unfortunately. How did inflation and other factors influence decisions recommended by the FAC and approved by the board this year?
Just a little process check here. What can happen is, as far as the assessments go, the increase is based on either 5% or the CPI from June to June. And the June CPI was 9.1%. So therefore this year we could go up to 9.1% in the assessment increase. After that was reviewed by the Finance Advisory Committee, as well as all the items in the budget, they came back and recommended 9.1%, and the board agreed.
Okay. And I know that part of the consideration has been rebuilding reserve funds. We've heard a lot more about reserve funds in the village after we built 2 major amenities in 2019, the Chota Clubhouse and the Kahiti Community Center. And the reason that became a topic was because we depleted our amenity reserve fund at that time. So we were committed as a village, really, as a board and as a village, to rebuild and expand our reserves. And recently a reserve fund study was completed. And can you share with us a little bit about the findings and the resulting action of the board based on that and how it affected the budgeting process?
You mentioned our reserves. 3 years ago, we're right around $2 million after we built the Tokwa Clubhouse and did the expansion over at Kahiti. Mm-hmm. And so the focus of the board and of the POA staff since then has been building that reserve fund back up. And that currently stands at $14 million. So I say that we've done a really good job, and we are in really good shape financially. What the reserve study has done, though, is it's given us a little bit better insight as to what that reserve balance needs to be. And that's a lot of that's based on the assets that we have. We have $400 million of assets in this community.
Wow.
And so if you look at that and then they apply whatever mathematical formulas, you know, that they have, then they try to determine, okay, what do you need to have as your reserve? So what came out of the study was we need to be putting $8 to $10 million a year into reserves. Now, that doesn't mean that it just goes there and stays there, because we're continually spending money out of reserves too. So the reserves are targeted for maintenance and replacement of existing assets. Now, I want to be clear too, in the past, we've had a new amenity reserve. And so we're going to continue that as well, but that is not part of the reserve study. So that's incremental to the 8 to 10 million that we need to be putting away just for maintaining current assets.
So that's a big number. So just because we have $14 million in reserves doesn't mean that we can just relax and not worry about continuing to build that.
Yeah, we have a 35-year-old infrastructure. So even though we're not saying the sky's falling and things are going to continue or start breaking on us, we've got to be prepared. So just like any good household management, we're doing the same thing here and saying, okay, let's have some money socked away for a rainy day.
Excellent. We'll be glad for that, I'm sure. Crazy things happen, like, I don't know, clubhouse is burned down.
Yeah, that too.
So we have to be prepared, right? Infrastructure projects in the 2023 budget included a sewer tank and pumps in the main sewer station that will also come at no small cost. So can you give our viewers some insight into this project, its funding, what's going on?
As part of the water and sewer study, there's projects that range from a couple million to several $1 million for both the water and the sewer systems. So what we're going to tackle first is the sewer system. And we need to do something there primarily because during heavy rain events, it becomes very difficult to pump our sewage into Loudoun Utility Bureau. So we need to create a holding tank. And as part of that project, we also need to upgrade our existing pump station and the pumps there. That is part of the project that'll begin next year and go into 2024. The total cost of that project is estimated to be $5.4 million. Wow. So it's a start.
Well, I say it every quarter, but it's true. The board has a lot going on. And so we're really appreciative of the time and the energy you put into the continued success of Tellico Village and all of the board members, as well as advisory committees and staff. But thank you so much for being here to provide that insight and to keeping us up to date.
You're welcome. And I guess I just wanted to add one more thing. You know, with that infrastructure project that we're doing for sewer, we're working with the Loudoun County Mayor and the County Commission to secure state funding. So with the help of Henry Cullen, he's our commissioner, one of our commissioners in the village, we're hoping to get $2.1 million from the state to help offset our costs on that sewer project. So that's a huge win.
What are the odds of that?
It's great.
Oh, good. Thanks again, Marty, and thank you for tuning in to your Tellico Village POA Quarterly Board Update. And be sure to share a link of this video with your friends and neighbors so they can be in the know just like you. We'll be back again next time with more timely Tellico topics. We'll see you then.